Lesson 221. Peace to my mind. Let all my thoughts be still. Father, I come to you today to seek the peace that you alone can give. I come in silence. In the quiet of my heart, the deep recesses of my mind, I wait and listen for your voice. My Father, speak to me today. I come to hear your voice in silence and in certainty and love. Sure, you will hear my call and answer me. Now do we wait in quiet. God is here because we wait together. I am sure that he will speak to you and you will hear. Accept my confidence, for it is yours. Our minds are joined. We wait with one intent, to hear our Father's answer to our call, to let our thoughts be still and find his peace, to hear him speak to us of what we are, and to reveal himself unto his Son. You think silence makes God speak. What if his voice was already there? A man sat alone in an old radio room. One receiver, one pair of headphones, one dial glowing beneath his hand. He had been told there was a voice somewhere on the frequency, so he searched. Static. He turned the dial. Music. Turned again. Someone talking. Again. Static. Hour after hour, his hand kept moving. Every frequency seemed to offer something. A warning about tomorrow, a replay of yesterday, an argument that had never ended, a body demanding attention, a problem promising peace once it was solved, thought after thought, frequency after frequency. Then something happened. His hand crossed one particular spot on the dial, and beneath the static, a voice. He stopped, turned back, static, moved forward again. The voice returned, faint, steady, already speaking. The man leaned closer. He had spent the entire night trying to find a signal that had never stopped broadcasting. Peace to my mind. Let all thoughts be still. All thoughts. His hand rested on the dial. Not the frightening frequencies only, not the angry ones, not the ones he wished would disappear. All of them. He removed his hand and listened. The voice remained. Silence had not made it speak. Silence had made nothing happen. The broadcast had preceded the silence. It had preceded the search. It had preceded every turn of the dial. The man looked at the receiver. He had mistaken searching for listening. I wait. The word caught him. Wait. Wait for what? The signal was already here. The broadcast had already begun. Nothing was approaching the radio room. Nothing was deciding whether to answer. God is here because we wait together. Here. The man glanced toward the door, then back at the receiver. If God is here, where would God come from? And if the voice is already speaking, what is the waiting for? His eyes dropped to his hand, the hand that had spent hours turning the dial. Maybe the signal was not late. Maybe the hand had simply never become still. He put on the headphones. I listen for your voice. Listen, not search. Searching assumes something is missing. Listening begins with presence. The distinction had been sitting in front of him all night. He had been trying to find what had never been lost. The voice continued beneath the quiet, and another thought appeared. Peace. He had treated peace like another signal God still needed to send. Something not yet delivered. Something waiting somewhere beyond the static. But what could God give now that had not already been given? If something essential had been withheld, God withheld it. If something essential had been forgotten, God forgot it. If peace had not yet been given, then perfect giving had somehow left something out. The man looked at the receiver. The problem collapsed under its own weight. Nothing new needed to be transmitted. Nothing new needed to arrive. The dial became still. Our minds are joined. He had always imagined separate broadcasts. My fear, my history, my judgment, my plans, my thoughts. private frequencies belonging to a private mind. But if mind is one, what exactly had ever separated? The static had made noise. It had never created another signal. The man closed his eyes. To hear him speak to us of what we are. There it was. Not what happens tomorrow. Not what another person should do. Not whether the body changes. Not how the story ends. What we are. The voice beneath every frequency was answering the only question none of the frequencies could answer. Fear could describe danger. Memory could describe yesterday. The body could report sensation. Judgment could describe appearances. But none of them could establish what he was. The man opened his eyes. The room looked exactly the same. Same receiver, same headphones, same night outside the window. Nothing had been removed, nothing had been added. The static still existed wherever he chose to turn the dial. But he no longer mistook static for the signal. He left the dial untouched and heard what had been there before his hand ever reached for it. The voice did not begin when the thoughts became still. The thoughts became still, and what had never stopped speaking could finally be heard. Detective Boy looks at the untouched dial, listens to the signal that was already broadcasting, and asks one ordinary question. If silence did not make God speak, what had you been listening to that made his voice seem absent?